you're doing fabulous today. So we are covering a the topic of creating freshness for newness in your life. And this topic today is so exciting to have because as we're starting spring, it's good to do a refresh and it's good to clean stuff and that's what allows us to create that freshness feeling, and that's what allows us to have this sense of a new beginning, right? So not only does spring bring with it the the feeling of freshness, but we could also promote that by clearing, decluttering, detoxing, and all of that good stuff so that we can enhance that feeling of freshness, right? And with freshness and with spaciousness, we're able to invite new energy into our life. And with new energy comes newness, right? So anything that we're trying to create and manifest with that refresh, it has the ability now to actually come to be, right? So I welcome you. Thank you so much for joining today. We are on Instagram and we're on Facebook. So thank you so much for joining us. And of course, this this recording will also go on YouTube. So we'll be in other places. So good to have you. And I look forward to connecting with you in the places. So without further ado, let me share with you the tips, the concepts of how to do this refresh. Okay, so the refresh has to do with, first we're going to do decluttering, then we're going to do detoxing, and then we're going to do defragging, like defrag, how you defrag a computer, right? So that's another, it's a fancy word for restructuring and reorganizing, because again, those three things will create spaciousness in your space, in your mind, in your body, in your all the things, energy, relationship, in outside spaces. So with that spaciousness, we create the ability to create newness that releases energy, right? All that clearing releases energy and creates space for new stuff to emerge, right? That's what we're shooting for. So when we have this influx of new energy, that's when we'll be able to create the new stuff, and automatically new stuff emerges because there's newness happening. So hopefully all of that made sense. Give me a thumbs up, a like, and all the things if this is making sense, and of course feel free to post any questions. Okay, so here we go. Ready? For decluttering, we have a few areas. So if you haven't gotten this, go to my website, metrorelationships.com, and you'll be able to download the refresh for newness checklist. So everything that I'm going to share with you now, you could actually get the download. It's a one sheet, so you could track along all the decluttering, detoxing, and defragging that you'll be doing for yourself. All right. So the first one for decluttering is decluttering your spaces. So you'll be decluttering any junk, any excess, any accumulation, any old things, any expired things, anything that you no longer want, anything in your office, in your home, in your desk, in your car, in all of the places, right? So you're going to get rid of all this stuff. So that's one. Two, in your operations, right? So if you own a business or just in the operation of your home, just what are the routines? What are the habits? What are the rituals? What are the practices? Any approach, any processes, any workflows, procedures, like that kind of stuff. So you're going to review what you have going on, and you're going to streamline and take out steps or spruce them up or add little things or whatever you have to do. So you're going to declutter from the things that don't work, and you're going to add little things that you might need or want. Then number three, it's like removing any time sucks, right? So anything that sucks up your time, commitments that you no longer want to be a part of, any activities that you might want to say, you know what, I'm done with that activity, goals that no longer serve your purpose, right? Or that you no longer they're no longer in alignment with your vision or with things that you want to do. Any projects that you no longer want to pursue, any tasks, any redundancies, any inefficiencies, any distractions, right? We have plenty of those. So anything that you find that, I'm going down this rabbit hole, I no longer need this thing, or I don't want to do this thing, get rid of it. It's time for it to go. Then the next one is decluttering the mind. So now it starts getting a little bit more tricky, okay? Decluttering the mind has to do with getting rid of scripts, stories, limiting beliefs, any biases. And if you look at biases in Google, there's a gazillion biases that we could potentially have, okay? So check that out. Distorted thoughts, ruminating, indecision, negative self-talk, obsessions, things that we're like, just like, let me just think about this thing or do this one thing because we're obsessing over it, right? If you find that you're doing those things, it is time to stop. I know that it's much easier said than done, right? So for the things that are harder to do, and if you're finding that just easy spring cleaning, decluttering, and detoxing, which I'm going to cover in a second, are not enough for you, that you're like, I can't even get to do those things. Never mind enjoying the new influx of energy so new things would come, right? Like you just like, it's just the whole thing is too much. It doesn't even make sense. Like you don't have it in you to make this happen. We're having a masterclass at the end of the month to just help you exactly to do not only this, but rather what's underneath this. That's the deeper side of this. So all the things that I just mentioned for mind that are just not as simple as, oh, let me get rid of all this paper, right? It takes a little bit more. The deeper work around spring cleaning, we're going to be covering on this mindset, on this masterclass. It's going to be on the 30th of March. Feel free to bookmark it, and it'll be on recording afterwards. So just stay on the lookout. Look out for the link in the post for this or in the bio, the link in the bio, so you could register for it, okay? So feel free to check it out. And it's called, let's see if I could quote the title properly. Let's see, it's called Feeling Stuck and Spring Cleaning is Not Cutting It. So isn't that cool? So so feel free to register for that, and it will hook you up with the deeper side of this that might be keeping you stuck and not allowing you to do the spring cleaning and other refreshing that you might need to be doing in your life to help you move forward, okay, and to create the newness and the new beginnings that you want. Okay, so the last one for decluttering is called interactions. So for this one, you're going to get rid of defensiveness, less than desirable personal characteristics. How you showing up with grouchiness or with stinginess or things that you might recognize for yourself that you're like, I don't think I want to be that way. So you're going to get rid of that. Any blaming, any thing that gets in the way of intimacy, like things like that, right? So just take stock of what is happening in my relationship and how am I reacting or showing up in a way that doesn't serve me, him or her or us, and start getting rid of it, okay? So those are the ones that have to do with decluttering. So again, in a quick recap, we're going to declutter spaces, we're going to declutter operations, we're going to declutter time sucks, we're going to declutter the mind, we're going to declutter the interactions, all right? So moving on to now, the next one is detoxing. So for detoxing, we're going to detox personal things and we're going to detox relational things. So two things or two areas. For personal, we're going to get rid of all the little things that we might do that get in the way of us not functioning optimally, if you may. So for example, hitting the snooze button a gazillion million times and getting up 2 hours later or much later than we wanted to. Snacking, being on social media, gossiping, whining, complaining, self-victimizing, ordering out. So it could take any flavor, you see. indulging in all the things, binging on Netflix, playing video games. And all of these things in and of themselves are not terrible, right? But when we're indulging in them and it's too much, it takes away from feeling fresh and it clogs us up and it sucks up our energy and our time in our space and it doesn't allow us to create all the things that we might want in our life, right? So take a look and see, what are the things that I'm gonna get rid of? I'm gonna do this detox. So that was for personal. For the relational, we're gonna get rid of things like comparing, one-upping, keeping tallies, yelling, cursing, interrupting, digging at each other, sabotaging, undermining, controlling, dismissing, maximizing, minimizing, manipulating, joking at the other person's expense. Let's see what else do I have going on here on this list. Lying, covering up things, all kinds of things, right? So as you identify some things that you might do in terms of how you interact with your partner that don't feel so good for you and that you're getting a reaction from your partner, is start eliminating all those bad behaviors and habits, okay? So pick one or two that you know that you do a lot and be like, I'm detoxing from this one thing. Okay, so we cover the decluttering, we cover the detoxing. Third item, we are going to defrag. Now, defrag is the new concept here, right? In terms of this context, there's 3 areas that we want to defrag. And again, feel free to get the downloadable sheet. There's a lot of stuff I'm giving you, right? And you can go to the website, metrorelationship.com. And there's a pop-up there where you could get this download and get the sheet so you could track all the work that you're doing. You could start with 1 or 2 things and then keep going, right? Spring cleaning doesn't have to be limited to spring cleaning. You could create a new beginning or a refresh anytime, a reset anytime you want. Okay, so for defragging, we're going to do the 3 areas: personal, relational, and spiritual. Okay, so in a nutshell, these are a little deeper, so it's harder to explain in this context in a quick live like this. But this deeper stuff I'm going to be covering in the masterclass again on March 30th. So feel free to grab that. The link is going to be in the post and it's also in the bio in Instagram for the masterclass. Okay, so for personal, time map, daily routines, habits, personal branding, running scripts, distorted thinking, the limiting beliefs, the fears, the shadows, parts of the self. So see how now it gets like to deeper things that you can restructure and kind of reprogram some of these things that inform who you are and how you run your day, how you show up. All right, so those things you're going to start playing in reorganizing so that you get a release of energy and you do much better. Hi guys online, so I see you. I do see you. So hi. For relational, ready? You're gonna do mindset. You're gonna do commitments. You're gonna do boundaries, lifestyle, communication, dynamics, nurturing, intimacy, collaboration, enriching. You see, there's so much stuff here, right? So this is pretty much the whole relationship work. Now, if this feels overwhelming, again, you're not going to do all of this, right? You're going to pick 1 or 2 things and you're going to go deep. And when you restructure and when you reorganize and when you give it a different way of doing it, you will see that influx of energy. And with that new energy, you're going to create newness and you could do your new beginning. All right. That's going to allow new stuff to flourish. That's the whole point of this. And lastly, we're going to do the spiritual. And with the spiritual, we're going to clean up, reorganize, realign with our beliefs, with our practices, with our habits, with our grounding, with our aligning, connecting, expanding, all of that beautiful stuff. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to get it downloadable so that you could check off the work that you're doing as you go and you can stay inspired and clearing and refreshing consistently, not just during this month. Again, you could get that at metrorelationship.com and mark the calendar for March 30th for that masterclass if you want to do this deeper work with me. And you could get that on the link in the post and also in the bio in Instagram. Thank you so much, and I will see you at the next one. Bye.